Guys, let's jump in here. Selling in a crisis, 55 ways to stay motivated and increase sales in volatile times. Well, I see a lot of disciplines in this book. I've been realizing lately that I'm much more of I have relied too much on being motivated and not enough on being disciplined.
Me too.
And you got that, Tom?
No, I was just trying to. Yeah. I'm just trying to make sure. I agree. I just was trying to think through that because it's kind of like you meet people with 5 college degrees that got no common sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what they're going to do with it. And I look at, being motivated. I mean, there's a whole lot of days I am not motivated, but I need to be disciplined to get things done. And, this chapter here, where we stopped last week, chapter 27, own it. You cannot manage time. This immutable truth, time is extricable and relentless. You cannot stop it, get it back, reinvest it, or recover it. Once it is gone, it is gone. Time is by nature unmanageable. Os Guinness, I don't know if you read any of his stuff, but he's got a book on, it's not redeeming time. Redeeming time, I think that's what Jordan Rayner wrote. Tom and I have been through a couple of his books. But Jordan, his book on redeeming time is quite similar to, in some ways, to Os Guinness's book. He's got a Latin term in there, but and he talked about how we manage our energy in the space of time. Take a look at that. At least I'm on page 93. Any comments on that? The key to taking control of your time and your sales day is making better choices. You have a choice. Dawdle your hours away. And he talks about that golden hours. Remember earlier in the book, he focused on the golden hour. He's talking about the 8 golden hours we have each day to outsell the crisis.
Well, Danny, something I've observed over the years is for myself and clients, when they're going through kind of a slow period, maybe through the economy, not what they're doing, but like realtors right now, they make really bad decisions out of desperation because they quote need to work. So they take on the wrong business or whatever, and then when they're completely like covered up, I mean they're like just barely keeping their head above water, they make much better, well, they have pricing power, make much better decisions about accepting work and their pricing because they do not have enough time to get it all done the way that to manage that well. We're saying we can't manage it, but to coordinate. And I think that's something I see that you have people accept work that they should have never accepted, even though they're not busy, but it's all just building your pipeline. You're talking about to get ready for the right job, right customer. So I think that's something I've learned from the whole area of time is that, be careful what you accept, because you can't get that back. You could wind up committing a bunch of time to something you make no money on. It's just busy work.
Yeah, that is so true. I mentioned the business planning workshop I'm doing tomorrow. And Austin and Tony had 4 or 5 clients that had been asking about a workshop with our impact leadership group and all the training that we do through there. we get different requests. So it was, hey, we need a business planning workshop. We need somebody to help us, think into all of this. So they said, hey, will you do that last Tuesday or so? I said, sure. Well, I haven't done that workshop in I might have done it in December 21. For years I was doing it every November and December, and we do 3 or 4. So I started going through my materials. Well, I realized I've got, yesterday afternoon, I got about 12 hours and going through notes and putting together some stuff. And I want to ask you guys some question about this before we get off in a few minutes. But I decided this morning, okay, I've got to invite some people there so that's beneficial to me, not just giving this time for this workshop, which I love doing. He says here, owning it is a key to time discipline and gain control of your sales day. I like that term, time discipline. The buck stops with you. You believe that you alone are accountable for success or failure. You take complete responsibility and ownership for managing your time, territory, pipeline, and outcomes. You're diligent and disciplined about how and where you spend your time. You do not allow unexpected obstacles to slow you down. When faced with, I like this one. When faced with roadblocks, distractions, surprises, you improvise, adapt, and overcome and do what it takes to achieve your goals. And you fiercely protect the golden hours. You say no a lot. It speaks to what you were saying there, Tom. When crabs stop by to chat you up and bellyache about everything sucks, you don't jump in the bucket with them and engage in their negativity.
That is a great quote right there, Danny.
Yeah. When leaders attempt to dump busy work on you, you confidently and respectfully push back. At protecting the golden hours, I keep right now, and that's part of what got me yesterday, knowing what I was doing, in my little planner thing I do here. I was recording how much time I was spending and what efforts yesterday. And I went back into last week and kind of estimated and realized that, I've got 10, 11, 12 hours, in this. So I need to make it, productive for me. But the deal is I enjoy it. I was kind of like, yeah, you bet. But, and I'm doing part of that during my golden hours. So I need to benefit from it. So, anything else along that?
No.
I would reinforce saying no a lot. I mean, just the power of no is spectacular.
Yeah.
And it's not that you're insulting the person you say no to. It's just getting real with what you can actually do.
Yeah.
And and is it a fit?
Exactly. So next chapter, 3 choices for your time. And, he's got some things here that's, it's nothing really new. Trivial activities, important activities that keeps the wheel turning, impactful activities that put new opportunities into your pipeline and move those opportunities through your pipeline. Somebody,
Did y'all read the comments on this book about the excuses people give you? It's funny because I use the same excuses. It was funny because I thought I was reading something that like my text or something. Right now it's not a good time. We're not in a position, and I get the same stuff. I didn't realize that we're using the same verbiage.
Yeah. If you know who he is, and did a his company, he's one of the top 3 realtor trainers in the United States. And they did their latest surveys from 4 years ago. And between 8 and 6, in a survey of, I've got how many realtors, but thousands of realtors, how their day was how they occupied their day, how they spent their energy. The average realtor, and I think this is pretty common with a lot of salespeople, spent 17 minutes engaged in sales producing activities.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I've got
That's per day, Danny? 17 minutes per day?
per day. Yeah, let me see if, hold on just a second.
Wow.
That's insane. Got me thinking how much time am I messing with sales all day?
Yeah, here it is.
Wow.
This is on a, okay, I'm sorry. It was 3% of their day.
Okay.
Okay. 12% surfing the web, 18% email, 19% admin, 11% social media, 37% running errands, 3% with clients. So a little bit different than what I said. So it might have been a different one about, but yeah, that's only 3% clients. What surprises me is, and I don't know if the 3%, I'm gonna find this out, is the 3% in client or income generating activities? Anyway, I'm gonna figure that out.
Well, I mean, Danny, that 3% of a day is still only like 15 minutes.
Yeah,
It's not.
It's like nothing.
yeah.
So I
So
had a friend in Ohio. He was handed the management role, built up a real estate brokerage. His name's Greg Blount. And he walked in, all these people were sitting around. They were putting together this mass process of putting labels on folders and putting their resumes in and all stuff. He walks down, okay, throw all that in the trash. What? You don't have any prospect. You don't need those.
yeah.
I mean, they were like, what? He goes, you need to get on the phone or get in your car and go visit someone, because that stuff, you don't even have anyone to hand it to yet.
That's true.
Yeah, there's I started off this year, actually not June 1st, because I normally do that business planning in January of every year and then carry a few people into the year that to help them stay engaged in their planning and execution and some accountability. I didn't do it last year. And it started it in June of this year, did some stuff. And I had I think I had 6 or 7 people that my whole role was to help them think through their activities. I can tell you that by September 1st, I had 2 left. And one of them was Artie. And then Artie went on vacation. He took 2 vacations there in about a 6-week period and got off track. And he pretty much slows down November 1st. But one guy told me, he said, Danny, I just realized how much I don't do what it takes to be successful. And I've got to get a grip on that. Had one guy, quit doing what he was doing. He went and got a regular job and got out of sales.
Real job. What do you mean? I'm just sure.
We all have real jobs. We work for ourselves.
Yeah.
He says, let me make this crystal clear. I'm on page 93. You get paid to sell, period. Everything else is academic. You own three things: putting qualified opportunities in the pipeline, advancing qualified opportunities through the pipeline, generating revenue from new sales and account expansion. 1, 2, 3. This is how you make impact. So again, it was putting qualified opportunities in it, advancing qualified opportunities through it, and generating revenue.
But Danny, that's why I've been questioning what I do with networking. So I got a 3-point system, 3 points that I try to do to qualify a client. And the first one is the most important: is do we share values? Taking me too long with what I'm doing, networking, to determine if we really share values. Not the made up thing, not the front, not the business face, but they really share my values. That's who I want to do business with. It takes a while.
Exactly.
And that's why I like Christian business leaders. Now, that's not the only source, but that's an example. Not that you would have people show up once, but I mean, when you associate with people that have similar values, it just makes the whole process easier. I mean, you're whether it's a client or it's someone who supports your client, a vendor, I mean, all that stuff. And it's taken a while with what I've been doing. And it's not this, I'm a knock on the people, but they're not all prospects. And we know that. Or they're not all resources for clients.
Yeah, that's a great point. Excuse me while I make a note on that.
Yeah. Because you were talking about you're not wasting handshakes. I mean, I like people. That's great. But I mean, I've met people at Wednesday Coffee. I tell Diana, I would not, based on what I heard in the first 5 minutes, I would not do business with them. She goes, how do you know? Well, is it my spider sense? I don't know. But I mean, you know how something just clicks? You go like, wow, the whole thing is he took my business card and he's going to spam me. I mean, that was the whole point. No matter what he said, that's really what happened.
Well, you do better than I do. I don't make a big enough impression for him to send me an email.
Well, Danny,
Diane bent back with ground. She said, well, Danny, of course. You don't understand that?
Well, I mean, Danny, give yourself credit. Maybe you do a better job of communicating with them. They go, I'm going to waste my time because Danny's got goals. He's got to focus. And you're not there to collect business cards. That's not what you do.
Yeah, well, I know that the forming conversation, the FORM,
Yes.
where you from, occupation, where you from, what brought you here. Typically that answers the O, the occupation. If not, I ask them, something, well, where do you work? And anyway, that process I go through there, where you call it the forming or the frogging or the fording, whatever, whichever one you want to use.
Yeah.
That, I do walk away from people that they can't stay in the answering my questions. They want to turn it into a sales pitch. Okay.
Well, I'll give you one better, Danny. They don't have the answers for the question.
Well, yeah. When I say, well, yeah, exactly. When I say, Tom, are you from Austin? You say no. And then you start telling me about something you're trying to sell. I know one insurance agent. It's not Paul. Well, it used to be Paul. No, not Paul. Not Paul. Is he just started selling me on insurance? When I asked him either where is he from, or are you from Austin, or where are you from?
Right.
He started telling me and go on. I did not ask for his business card. Okay.
Right.
I did not give him mine. So I've got I think it's a pretty basic level conversation. And I'm serious. It's rare.
Yeah.
Like this week with just at that one event tomorrow night,
Mhm.
I will meet, let's say 10 people.
Okay.
I might have one person send me an email. Okay.
Yes.
And the rest of them on Monday, I will send them an email.
Okay.
It was great meeting you. No sales pitch. They see my signature. That's it. And starts the follow through, the plan follow through process. But yeah, it's and in my business, yeah, I'm playing the long game.
Mhm.
I'm going to look out for the short, for the short game, for now business, and I am, there in part to build a database of people that want to engage with me, and so anyway, eat the frog. Prospecting is one activity that will have the greatest positive impact on the health of your pipeline, career, and income. Of course, he's written a whole book on this. Do you have it right there, Paul?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah, fanatical prospecting.
There it is. All its little tabs and stuff in it.
Yeah.
I believe in it. Eat the frog. I can make the whole week better by taking the worst thing on Monday morning and just knock it out.
Yeah.
My whole day and week is better.
Yeah.
I agree. Because usually if you have something really bad, it's affecting your mood and your attitude, all that other stuff. If you have something really rough or something to deal with like that.
I mean, let's say I draft a return. I got bad news. I'm going to wait all week to tell them early, and it's a draft. Let's work on what to do now and in the future versus they find at the last minute. There's no benefit. And make sure you're depressed all week. You can get there. Like, I got to tell me I owe 100 grand. Well, hey, turn around. You owe 100 grand because you made a ton of money. What you missed is you didn't pay your payments. We're going to fix that. I mean, I don't know, that's how I try to do it. So.
Yeah. This chapter ends with good stuff in here, and it ends with stop procrastinating and start prospecting. Eat that frog.
I like that.
That's good.
Mike, how do you prospect in your machine shop for business in your machine shop?
I have a list that I use to go down and like people I do a Google search for people who require, there's just different ways. I do oil and gas, semi, aerospace, and automotive, and I just go down and start knocking it out. And I look for on LinkedIn as well. I look for all the people that are in those positions to be buyers and see what they do and see how I can help them as well. I just got to do a lot of digging. Sometimes I do okay. I use all my resources and my past experiences and positions I've been, and I thought that would really benefit us. It hasn't worked out. I guess some people, when you depend on that, at the end of the day, some people don't want to see you succeed, I guess. When they hear you bought a machine shop, and you would think, well, these people know that I'm a quality guy, that we produce good parts. And it doesn't seem like that's happening. You get more resistance than anything else, especially when you have people in key roles that ask you if they can come work for you and you don't have a position open. And then they're like, well, you don't want me to work for you or what? No, I just can't afford you. I'm being honest. Of course, if I had the capacity and the money, yes. And then all of a sudden you see orders stop. So it's tricky.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, who's the number one prospect for you based on their role in a company? I mean,
it would be the person
agent, someone technical.
It would be a supply chain manager.
Okay, got it.
or buyers of supply chain. And then of course, quality as well. In order for me to fill out the paperwork, to pass the assessments, to be able to be a certified or qualified AVL candidate.
Right. So someone in QA that can get you in because they've got issues? Or
Yeah.
okay.
Or just depending on, the thing is, I got to see what the requirements are, if I can meet them
Yeah,
requirements.
okay.
Yeah. And sometimes things just don't align. They say we're too expensive. And the thing going now is that material is so expensive, but it just went down. So you had a trend going skyrocketing. Now it's going down again because of the economy.
Okay.
So it's crazy. So stainless steel went up 4 times in value. Now it's starting to creep back down. But customers don't want to pay for the increase in material. They want to stay with the legacy pricing, and it causes you a lot of pain.
On chapter 30, interesting title, leverage high intensity activity sprints. Now he gets into being distracted with our electronic environment and our devices. And does anybody here have problems with that?
The iWatch, you can be in a meeting and it will go off constantly, even though you quiet it and everything. It's still, and you have a habit of, and some people don't like that. I always leave my phone in my back pocket or completely turned off when I go into a meeting with the customer. Now, on the other end, when I'm in a meeting with somebody, like with employees or somebody, if we're in a management meeting and somebody's sitting there laughing on the phone and looking at it, and it does annoy me, just to be honest with you, because I'm paying you and you should be giving me your attention.
Yeah, absolutely. So he says here, after talking, chasing butterflies and the distractions, it's a human condition. Your brain's wired for distraction, and it loves the novel, bright, shiny things. He says the key is time blocking. And I tell you, that's just in the last few months that I've gotten a better grip on what time blocking is. I'm in a business that, and I've had a couple of coaches that realized these weren't familiar enough with my business, that I don't have the luxury of returning calls between 11 and 1 and after 4. Because, certain things are, like you walk into we're in such an environment that, if you go to the grocery store, you want your cut of meat, your bread, and your milk while you're there. Well, people are the same way with questions they have about loans. They're right in the middle of they're writing a contract they need, so it's why I like right now, I would not answer my phone, but after this, I don't have anything planned for an hour on my calendar. In essence, it's free, it's blocked as free time. And he says here, the key is time blocking. And it's transformational. It changed everything it changes everything because it forces you to concentrate your focus on a single activity.
Well, Dan, just a quick question for you. Okay, so if you have certain times you check email or return calls, if you're in the middle of a deal, you have a way to make sure that, if a customer pings you, that you would know to look at that, or just got to wait, or what do you do?
It depends. One thing is to stay out in front of it. And if I have like have a new loan out that I got last Wednesday, and got it worked up, got disclosures out on it, told the borrower, actually, I said, you'll get the disclosures on Friday. I didn't want to send them until Friday because I didn't want him to get them Wednesday and start asking a bunch of questions, because I had other things that I wanted to be doing.
Okay.
But then yesterday, and I told him, you don't need to worry about this till Monday. And he didn't. And then yesterday he signed the disclosures. I sent him an email to remind him to sign the disclosures, let me know if he had any questions. sent him, he did all that yesterday. Today, I sent him the next steps email, introduced him to 2 members of my team that would be helping him. The thing is to not have crises.
Mhm.
Okay. And
Right.
now if I upped and, if, Eric Reckenwald hadn't gotten a loan from Eric in a long time. If Eric called me right now, I would probably text him, say, Eric, I'll call you back after 3.
Yeah.
So that would let him know
Okay.
what I'm doing.
Right.
But the thing is that, I mean, this business is real hard to get. There's always little fires, they get out of control. So you got to be cutting. There's a new show out called Fire Country. And I was thinking about this business with Fire Country, and it's, you cut fire lines. And so the fire can't jump over. So it seems you do ahead of time to keep that from happening. Get the insurance referred out, real early so that it's not a last minute deal.
Yeah.
By the way, Paul, this guy's with State Farm and he's never leaving State Farm. Just amazes me. So.
Well, for home insurance, they're super expensive typically.
Oh, I know.
I think they're worse than USA on prices for home insurance.
I know. So that's now I had a loan about 2 weeks ago. It was back about the 12th or so, and it was coming down to the end. It was a bank statement loan. We were fighting some stuff. A lot of cash flow, a massive amount of cash flow, and she had about 5 hot checks over the last 2 years that she just had managed her funds. She thought that she had it was set up against what's called check protection, overdraft protection.
Overdraft protection. Yeah. Mhm.
Her accountant knew it. They had talked about it. And then so some things like that we're having to get answers on. And anyway, so that got down to where I canceled a couple of things over a couple of day period. Was going to Scott Carley's breakthrough event and told him, I said, Scott, I'm gonna have to step out some on this. So if I need to reschedule coming to this later, but this is such that I've got to stay on top of it. And when my underwriter calls, I've got to take that call and get on the phone with my borrower. And all worked out, but you plan those things,
Right.
when that's going to happen.
Right. Avoid crisis, manage it. Yep. Got it. Okay.
You simply cannot do multiple tasks all at one time and do them well. He says your brain, I love this, your brain was not made to talk, walk, rub your belly, and chew gum at the same time.
Didn't we used to try that as kids?
Yeah.
Didn't we just try that as kids or something?
Yeah, I tell you, I struggle with not multitasking. It depends on what it is. If I've got a set of tax returns, I got to work up the income on. I shut my computer. I use a handwritten sheet, and I shut everything down. Okay, but sometimes other noise. I've got a friend of mine that, Mike knows him. Mike worked for him. Rob.
Yes.
Rob, where he did all this business planning and thought process and all the stuff that he put together for presentations for, where he did all that work, Mike?
No.
Johnny Mello's coffee shop.
Oh, really?
He goes to a coffee shop. He goes to Roosters over by his house in Cedar Park, and we're sat there with all this activity going on, no headset, and just working away. And that activity in the room doesn't distract him, it actually energizes him. There was a guy that, when I was coaching at Austin Job Seekers a few years ago, guy come through there. Not even sure why he was there, because he had a couple of gigs. He was a coder wrote code. And I would see him around at restaurants and coffee shops, and he just over there just working away. And I referred him to a guy down in Houston that I know that has for about 12 years, all the PDF software that came from the factory of HP was his software. And David called me and said, "Hey, I'm looking for such and such." And I said, "I know a couple of guys. One of them was this guy." He called me up a few days later. And he said, "That guy is a rock star." He says, "He cost me twice as much as anybody else I got, but he's worth 3 times that."
Oh, yeah.
But he did all this work. And David told me, he worked for Dave for about 3 years. And he says, he can't come to the office because it's too quiet. He has to go, he'll come down here to Houston and spend a week, but he stays at one of the local coffee shops and does the work and brings it back and comes into a meeting.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know if you call that multitasking, but anyway.
I heard multitasking's something that's not good.
Yeah, it's not. That's what he's saying in here. Actually, there's some multitasking.
Yeah.
Is considered to be a disease.
Inefficient,
What it
right?
does to your brain. Okay. It actually, if you're multitasking, it's actually, I mean, brain cells are always being killed off, but multitasking, I mean, just on a daily basis, we're losing brain cells. Okay. And most of us have, hundreds of millions that we never use. Okay. But multitasking actually causes an increase in brain cells and short-term memory loss. That's why it's called actually a disease. Let's stop right there. Next week we'll hit on sell better. Don't bring charm to a gunfight. Got a question for you.
What's that?
Business planning. Who goes to a business planning workshop? Anybody been to one? I have many times.
I've been to one, but I haven't been to one in a while.
Well, probably when I was in the chamber board, Danny, I probably attended one. Yeah.
You go to a business planning workshop, what are you expecting? What do you think when you think business planning workshop? What comes off the top of your head?
Organization. Getting things that'll help you get more organized, to get get more focused.
I would add to that, Danny, kind of a to-do list. A lot of people need like a recipe. Like, okay, I know I should do items 1, 2, and 3, but I don't know beyond that what I should do. Depends on the depth of their business plan.
Okay. What else?
Well, I mean, if it's focused on realtors, I mean, I think it needs to be, different ways of getting business. Because I mean, it's so many of them, I think, focus on, have a very narrow way of getting business. And it's like, I mean, I don't know. I think social media is pretty much worthless, in my opinion. But I mean, I don't even look at Facebook or LinkedIn or any of that stuff anymore. I just really don't. I look at it. I clear my notifications about once every few weeks. That's about it. But I mean, just don't really think that's getting people business anymore like it used to.
Okay, and it's real. I'm just going to say not only realtors, but realtors and small business people like us. We're small teams of individuals or single contributors. You're 1, 2, 3 people typically. Anything else?
Just talk about what are referral partners in your field of business, and how can you get more? Because I mean, the best business ever to get is a business when somebody refers you, because you've already got a nice warm introduction that somebody thinks you're great and wonderful, rather than somebody just calling because they see your name in on Facebook or the internet or whatever. You got a more warm lead's always a lot better. I mean, every business got different kind of referral partners. I mean, I've got mortgage and real estate agents, but that's really my biggest. But I mean, I get health insurance agents that send me leads too occasionally, and different things. I mean, different ones. So everybody's business is different. I mean, like I wouldn't even know where you have a clue where to send Mike. Who would send Mike leads? I mean, or customers. I mean, based on your business. I mean, of course, as a realtor, one thing, but as your shop, that's completely different.
I think Danny also like understanding what your focus is. You've met people networking. They go, so who are your customers? Oh, everyone.
Yeah,
I doubt it. I mean, yeah, it's possible, but I mean, how do you?
Anybody with
Yeah.
a spine? Chiropractor. The chiropractor says, "Oh, anybody, if you know anybody with a spine, send them my way." Like, yeah, that's perfect. Everybody with a spine needs your help. No, they don't.
No.
Yeah. I mean, knowing that focus is important. I mean, that's a leading question I always have with a new client prospect. That's one of construction. What do you do? Oh, we do everything. Really? I mean, are you good at everything? They kind of stop. What do you mean? Well, you're a general contractor? Oh, no, I'm not a general contractor. Oh, well, do you hire trades that are subs like plumbers? Yeah. Well, then you're not doing everything.
Yeah.
They may be
exactly.
coordinating, but I'm just trying to find out, like, what do they actually do? And when they can't tell you, when they do everything, I doubt it. Yeah, we build homes and nuclear power plants. Yeah, I doubt it. I don't think you do both of those. I mean, I don't think so.
If you do, I don't want you living close to that nuclear power.
Exactly. Right. But a lot of owners cannot tell you that, Danny. So they've got this business plan, which is if I get, 8% of the world population of 8 billion, I'm looking good. Well, that may not be a good plan. And it's not even numbers at that point. I mean, it's not the math. It's like who is your primary, what are you good at? Who's your primary prospect? I think it's about focus.
Yeah, that's a good point, honestly, because I mean, just example, if I focused on renters insurance, which I make probably about $10 a year on, that's about how much I make on it because they're like $120 policies. If I focused on renters insurance, I could get 1,000 policies and I still make enough money to pay my bills. So
Is that like making dollars with quarters or something? How they say? Yeah.
Making dollars with pennies. I don't think it's
well, plus your service cost and time, Paul. If it's all renters, will just eat your lunch. Oh exactly. My goodness. Yeah.
I'll give you a good example. I had a bunch of product in stock of a customer that's going out of business, and I have hundreds of his parts, but he already told me I'm going out of business in June, right? Or something like that. And so we're not going to make any more parts for him. And he kind of told me, I'm not going to give you no more POs. Then he messaged me, said, hey, do you have any of these parts in stock? Because I know you like to make extra parts. Well, my guys have made over 100 extra parts of his part. And he was like, well, you used to sell them to me at $50 a piece. Can you honor that price? Well, he only needed 3, but my coworkers are saying, well, for 3 pieces, the price is $125 a piece. And me as an owner, I was like, I'll make the judgment and I'll give them to you for $50 a piece. And then it caused a big old problem because like, we can't keep falling on the sword, selling them for $50 a piece. When we should have sold them for $150 a piece because it was only 3. I'm like, but this guy's going out of business. This is on the shelf. It's already built, been there for 3-4 years. To me, 150 is better than 0, but then supposedly it costs us a lot of money. So I don't know. That's just the way I looked at it.
Mike, in accounting, it's called a sunk cost.
Yeah.
You already made the part. You like some of your cash out, right? You may never sell it, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
they said we could have got more money
cost
by writing it off as a loss.
Right. It's sunk cost. Yep.
Yeah. But my thing is we need capital. We need cash coming in. So, right. And then I'm trying to fix the relationship with the customer. Like, hey, I'll give them to you, at this price. But then why put so much effort in a customer you know is not going to be there in 6 months? but it's more of that experience, right? Like you want to keep your reputation. Hopefully you can send us to somebody else.
Yeah.
That's
Whoever,
just-
maybe he can send you whoever's buying his business.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's always a challenge.
All right.
Always.
Anything else? So when you leave a business planning workshop, what emotions should you have? What would you like to have?
Should be fired up.
I would like to have, well, good example, Danny. I'm going to a workshop on the 7th, and I'm hoping to get a lot of new information that can help me build my business up for the government. So I'm really excited about that. Hopefully I can get the tools and the resources that I've been looking for and get some answers directly from them instead of going through all these websites and getting calls all day for sales calls all day. We'll buy this website. We get you, in front of everything else. And it's for $2,000 a month. I can't afford that right now. It's just a lead. It's just a lead.
Lead generation. Yeah.
Yeah. And it just doesn't make any sense.
So new info. What else?
I mean, I would want to leave with, I would hope that training or conference would lead me to a call to action. Like you leave the seminar, you go, that was great. You put the material on your desk and you're done. Versus, hey, this stuff is great. I'm going to act now. I mean, that's really what it's about because, we've all been to training we didn't use.
Right.
One thing I've gotten from those kind of business meetings is I've gotten new contacts and got to mix with other people doing different things, and it's helped my business as well.
Well, guys, I appreciate it. Thank you all.
Good luck
try
on
to make
your
it on-
seminar, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to make it there on Thursday.
Okay, I'll send you that. I think some of y'all, all of you should have gotten. I'll see you. I know I'll see you tomorrow night, Tom. Right? Yep. The Golfinity, Mike. I think I sent you something on it. If you're out and about, want to come to a networking event.
Okay, I'll check it out. I don't remember it, but I can check it out.
All right. See y'all.
All right, sounds good. Thank
Have a
y'all.
good one.
Have a good day.
Bye. See you,
Bye.
Paul.
Yeah.